Genesis 44:18 through 47:27. Then Yehuda approached Joseph and said, "Please, my lord, let your servant say something to you privately. Don't be angry with your servant, for you are like Pharaoh himself." My lord asked his servants, "Do you have a father or a brother?" We answered, "My lord, we have a father who is an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one whose brother is dead, so that of his mother's children he alone is left, and his father loves him. But you said to your servants, 'Bring him down to me so that I can see him.' We answered, 'My lord, the boy can't leave his father. If he were to leave his father would die.' You said to your servants, 'You will not see my face again until your brother is with you.' We went up to your servant, my father, and told him that my lord had said. But when our father said, 'Go again and buy us some food,' we answered, 'We can't go down. Only if our youngest brother is with us will we go down, because we can't see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us.' Then the servant my father said to us, 'You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. The one went out from me, and I said, "Surely he has been torn to pieces," and I haven't seen him since. Now if you take this one away from me too, and something happens to him, you will bring my great hair down to Sheol with grief. So now if I go to your servant my father, and the boy isn't with us, seeing how his heart is bound up with the boy's heart, when he sees that the boy isn't with us, he will die, and your servants will bring the gray hair of your servant and our father down to Sheol with grief. For your servant himself guaranteed his safety. I said, if I fail to bring him to you, then I will bear the blame before my father forever. Therefore, I beg you, let your servant stay as a slave to my lord instead of the boy, and let the boy go up with the brothers. For how can I go up to my father if the boy isn't with me? I couldn't bear to see my father so overwhelmed by anguish." At last, Joseph could no longer control his feelings in front of his attendants, and cried, "Get everybody away from me." So no one else was with him when Joseph revealed to his brothers who he was. He wept aloud, and the Egyptians heard, and the Pharaoh's household heard. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is it true that my father is still alive?" His brothers couldn't answer him. They were so dumbfounded at seeing him. Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come closer." And they came closer, and he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But don't be sad that you sold me into slavery here, or angry at yourselves, because it was God who sent me in ahead of you to preserve life. The famine has been over the land for the last 2 years, and yet another 5 years will be neither plowing nor harvest. God sent me ahead of you to ensure that you will have descendants on earth, and to save our lives in a great deliverance. So it was not you who sent me here, but God, and he has made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of all his household, and ruler over the whole land of Egypt. Hurry, go up to my father, and tell him, 'Here is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, and don't delay. You will live in the land of Goshen and be near me, you, your children, your grandchildren, flocks, herds, everything you own. I will provide for you there, so that you won't become poverty-stricken, you, your household, and all that you have, because 5 years of famine are yet to come. Here your own eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that is in my mouth, speaking to you. Tell my father how honored I am in Egypt, and everything you have seen, and quickly bring my father down here." Then he embraced his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept on them. After that, his brothers talked with him. The report of this reached Pharaoh's house. "Joseph's brothers have come," and Pharaoh and his servants were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, here is what you are to do. Load up your animals, go to the land of Canaan, and take your father and your families, and come back to me. I will give you a good property in Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land. Moreover, and this is an order, do this: take wagons from the land of Egypt to carry your little ones and your wives. Bring your father and come. Don't worry about your stuff, because everything good in the land of Egypt is yours." The sons of Israel acted accordingly, and Joseph gave them wagons as Pharaoh had ordered, and gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them he gave a new set of clothes. But Benjamin he gave 7.5 pounds of silver and 5 sets of new clothes. Likewise to his brother he sent 10 donkeys loaded with the finest goods Egypt produced, as well as 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, bread, and food for his father to eat on the return journey. Thus he sent his brothers on their way, and they left. He said to them, "Don't quarrel among yourselves while you're traveling." So they went up of Egypt, entered the land of Canaan, and came to Yaakov their father. They told him, "Joseph is still alive. He is ruler over the whole land of Egypt." He was stunned at the news. He couldn't believe it. So they reported to him everything Joseph had said to them. But it was only when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him that the spirit of Yaakov their father began to revive. Israel said, "Enough, my son Joseph is still alive. I must go and see him before I die." Israel took everything he owned with him on his journey. He arrived at Beersheba and offered sacrifices to God of his father, the God of his father Yitzhak. In a vision at night, God called Israel. "Yaakov, Yaakov," he answered. "Here I am," he said. "I am God, the God of your father. Don't be afraid to go down to Egypt. It is there that I will make you into a great nation. Not only will I go down with you to Egypt, but I will bring you back here again after Joseph had closed your eyes." So Yaakov left Beersheba. The sons of Israel brought Yaakov their father, their little ones and their wives in the wagons Pharaoh had sent to carry them. They took their cattle and their possessions which they had acquired in the land of Canaan and arrived in Egypt. Yaakov and all his descendants with him, his sons, grandsons, daughters, granddaughters, and all his descendants he brought with him into Egypt. These are the names of Israel's children who came into Egypt: Yaakov and his sons, Reuven, Yaakov's firstborn, and the sons of Reuven, Hanok, Palu, Hetzron, and Carmi. The sons of Shimeon, Yamuel, Yamin, Ohad, Yakin, Sochar, and Shaul, the son of Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi, Gershon, Kehat, and Merari. The sons of Yehuda, Onan, Shelah, Peretz, and Zerach. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Peretz were Hetzron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar, Tola, Puva, Yov, and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun, Sered, Elon, and Yachleel. These were the children of Leah, whom she bore to Yaakov in Padan Aram, with his daughter Dinah. And his sons and daughters numbered 33. The sons of Gad, Ziphion, Haggai, Shunai, Etzbon, Eri, Arodai, and Arali. The children of Asher, Yimna, Yishvi, Beriah, and their sister Serach. The sons of Beriah were Hever and Malkiel. These were the children of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter. She bore them to Yaakov, 16 people. The sons of Rachel, Yaakov's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. To Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Osnat, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. The sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Echai, Rosh, Mupim, Hupim, and Ard. These were the children of Rachel, who were born to Yaakov, in sum 14 people. The sons of Dan, Hushim. The sons of Naphtali, Yachtiel, Zael, Izgunai, Yetzer, and Shalem. These were the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel his daughter, and she bore them to Yaakov, and some 7 people. All the people belonging to Yaakov coming into Egypt, his direct descendants, not counting Yaakov's sons' wives, totaled 66. The sons of Joseph born to him in Egypt were 2 in number. Thus all the people in Yaakov's family who were entered Egypt numbered 70. Yaakov sent Yehudah ahead of him to Joseph, so that the latter might guide him on the road to Goshen. Thus they arrived in the land of Goshen. Joseph prepared his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet Israel his father. He presented himself to him, embraced him, and wept on his neck for a long time. Then Israel said to Joseph, "Now I can die, because I have seen your face, and seen that you are still alive." Joseph said to his brothers and his father's family, "I'm going up to tell Pharaoh. I'll say to him, my brothers and my father's family, who were in the land of Canaan, have come to me. The men are shepherds and keepers of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and their possessions. Now when Pharaoh summons you and asks, 'What is your occupation?' tell him, 'Your servants have been keepers of livestock from our youth until now, both we and our ancestors. This will ensure that you will live in the land of Goshen, for any shepherd is abhorrent to the Egyptians." Then Joseph went in and told Pharaoh, his father and brothers have come in from the land of Canaan with their flocks, livestock, and all their possessions. Right now they are in the land of Goshen. He took 5 of his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" They answered Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we and our ancestors," and added, "We have come to live in the land, because in the land of Canaan there is no place to pasture your servants' flocks, and famine is so severe there. Therefore, please let your servants live in the land of Goshen." Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Your father and brothers have come to you, and the land of Egypt lies before you. Have your father and brother live on the best property in the country. Let them live in the land of Goshen. Moreover, if you know that some of them are particularly competent, put them in charge of your livestock." Joseph then brought in Yaakov, his father, and presented him to Pharaoh. And Yaakov blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Yaakov, "How old are you?" And Yaakov replied, "The time of my stay on earth has been 130 years. They have been few and difficult, fewer than the years my ancestors lived." Then Yaakov blessed Pharaoh and left his presence. Joseph found a place for his father and brothers and gave them property in the land of Egypt, in the best region of the country, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had ordered. Joseph provided food for his father and his brothers and all his father's household, taking full care of even the youngest. There was no food anywhere, for the famine was so very severe that both Egypt and Canaan grew weak from hunger. Joseph collected all the money there was in Egypt and Canaan in exchange for the grain they had bought, and put the money in Pharaoh's treasury. When all the money in Egypt had been spent, likewise in Canaan, and all the Egyptians approached Joseph and said, "Give us something to eat, even though we have no money. Why should we die before your very eyes?" Joseph replied, "Give me your livestock. If you don't have money, I will give you food in exchange for your livestock." So they brought Joseph their livestock, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for the horses, flocks, cattle, and donkey. All that year he provided them with food in exchange for their livestock. When the year was over, they approached Joseph again and said to him, "We won't hide from my lord that all our money is spent, and all the herds and livestock belong to my lord. We have nothing left, as my lord can see, but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for food. We and our land will be enslaved to Pharaoh, but also give us seed to plant, so that we can stay alive and not die, so that the land won't become barren." So Joseph acquired all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh. As one by one the Egyptians sold their fields, because the famine weighed on them so severely. Thus the land became the property to Pharaoh. As for the people, he reduced them to serfdom, city by city, and one end of Egypt's territory to the other. Only the priest's land did he not acquire, because the priests were entitled to provisions from Pharaoh, and they ate from what Pharaoh provided them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "As of today I have required you and your land for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you to sow the land. When harvest time comes, you are to give 20% to Pharaoh. 80% will be yours to keep for seed, to plant in the fields, as well as your food in the households of your little ones." They replied, "You have saved our lives. So if it pleases my Lord, we will be Pharaoh's slaves." Joseph made it a law for the country of Egypt, valid to this day, that Pharaoh should have 20%. Only the property belonging to priests did not become Pharaoh's. Israel lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. They acquired possessions in it and were productive, and their numbers multiplied greatly.